She wakes up and looks around the house. After seeing around the house, she got angry, and she thinks to herself that she got reincarnated as a girl who is a daughter of a noble family, but her father married his stepsister, and she was born as their kid. After realizing it, she tries to get up, but she falls down, and she realizes her body is really weak. After a while, she finds out that this world has magic, but she doesn't know anything about magic, and also on how to cast them. Her mother used to curse her when she was a kid, but she was all alone since their dad went somewhere with another girl. But right when her dad returned, he came back with a new child, and as a result her mother died. Since she is now daughter of his stepsister, her dad despises her and always gives attention to his affair's child, which then made her to get confused, and she thinks to herself that's the reason she should stay positive. After that, she realizes there is something soft is floating in the air. She then started to blush after realizing those are magic particles. After a while, she gets out thinking that nobody came in to check on her when she is bedridden for a whole week, but she still gets happy since she now knows how magic feels like. And all of a sudden her dad comes, and he says that she is pathetic for pretending to be sick, and she should get to the dining table and eat food now. But after seeing him, she only got more angry, while her dad is saying if she don't go there, she will not get food. With an annoyed face, she says that he is calling someone who is unconscious for a whole week is faking it. His stupid cruelty is so astounding that made her to get impressed, but still he silently asks her if she didn't heard him say to go and sit in the dining table, to which she replies that she heard it very clearly, but this made him to get angry. But she still goes on by saying that she will eat her food in her room all alone since she will be more happy to do it in that way. In the end, he got angry and he tells to her that she has a wretched personality and also why did she even born? But then without backing up, she angrily says, so she is resembling his bloodline. As a result, he couldn't able to say anything. After that, she tells him to have a good day, and she leaves the place without saying anything, but inside, she was really happy by thinking it's her win. And while she is being happy, someone calls her big sister, and she wasn't happy to see that small girl. But that small girl was really happy. That small girl then invites her to eat the dinner with the family if she got better, and if she doesn't come to dinner, everyone will scold her. Just because she is not available for this whole week, everyone is scolding her for no reason. So they should eat together, to which she says no. As a result, she started to run away while saying she is going to complain that to her father. In the past, she used to get scolded for her sister mistakes. So after refusing her invitation, she feels good now, but because of that, they may not feed her for a while. So to avoid that, she decides to take action. So, as a result, she goes into the kitchen. The cooks were shocked to see her, while she is asking them that she has some request to make. After saying it, she started to think in this world there is no spices, and the seasoning is basically salt. In the end, few days passes, the cooks are shocked to see her cooking. Afterwards, the cooks also takes action on cooking, just like she said. She was shocked and excited to eat the food. All of a sudden, the cooks started to eat the food, which shocked her. After finishing it, they says sorry to her for eating her portion. She then goes on by thinking that they don't have a better alcohol too, and after hearing it, they bowed down and asks her to show them the way. As a result, they started to cook the food, and she started to have a lot of fun. After a while, she was shocked to hear that she isn't allowed in the kitchen anymore. That maid then goes on by saying that her food will be brought to her room, and every necessity she needs will be handled by her personal attendant. After hearing it, she starts to think whether if the cooks were kicked out because of her, or did they rat her out. In the end, that maid gives her food for today, and she leaves the place without saying anything. But this made her to get angry, while thinking that she doesn't have a single ally here. Afterwards, she takes out a scissor, and she started to cut her hair. In the end, she realizes her hair feels greasy and rough, so she decides to make soap after learning magic. And then 1 year passes by, and she already mastered many magic. She then decides to train in back of her estate, like she used to do all this time. And she realizes that she doesn't know what is the normal standards in this world. So she decides to ask to someone if she ever encounters while doing her training. She then started to wish if anything like a monster or an evil beast suddenly appears in front of her, so she have to defeat it, and she stops thinking it by saying, "Just kidding." Meanwhile, at the Adventures Guild, S-rank adventure gets in quest to kill an powerful monster. But that S-rank adventure didn't believe them by saying there is no way a power monster appears in this area, to which that receptionist tells him to trust him in this. He then goes on by explaining that a lot of people hearing a loud noise coming from the forest, sometimes they even experience earthquakes. After a while, that S-rank adventure goes into the forest, and he notices everything that moves. After using a magic detection, he realizes the forest is really quiet, plus there is no small monsters in sight, so which means there is a powerful monster is lurking by. After walking deeper into the woods, he was shocked to see her in the forest. But this shocked him, and he started to scan her body. Pale skin like a noble, yet dressed like a poor kid, also has a body built for a girl. Plus, he has a beautiful face. Afterwards, he questions her if she is human, and he goes on by thinking that thing looks so adorable, but the magic power that's coming out of it is abnormal. He then started to wonder if that thing is really human, and he asks her on what she is doing here, to which she replies that's her line, since this is their land, to which he just says that he is not with anyone while thinking. That thing understands their language. All of the sudden he got shocked after seeing her mana getting more thicker, which scared him. And then he thinks the mana around the area got more denser, and also the dangerous vibe he is getting right now feels like. Afterwards he gets a flashback where everyone is scared of this S-rank guy, and he is all alone because of that. After remembering it, he comes to the conclusion that thing is human, but it just has been broken on inside, and then he started to wonder how to approach that thing. Meanwhile, she is thinking whether if a flag got triggered, and also for someone to show outside their mansion is really not good. She then realizes that guy is younger than her dad, and also he has white hair, which is not washed, plus he looks like a carefree traveler. But then she was shocked to see a sword in his hips. She then started to think if he is connected to his dad. If her dad finds out her training here, it will be bad. So she gets ready to kill him. But then before killing him, she got shocked to see his face, and she thinks to herself on why he is making that sad face when he is looking at her. All of the sudden, he tells her to calm down, and he introduces himself as his name is Sword and also an adventure. And so he came here to do a survey in this forest as a job. In the end, he asks her to say if she is a human. After hearing it, she started to think for a while. She then started to cry, while thinking that he didn't even consider her as a human, and she started to crash out to him by saying on what part of her looks like a non-human. He then goes on by asking her if she knows anything about the earthquake and sound that comes from this forest. After hearing it, she started to think she may know the truth about those culprit, because she is the one that made those things happen while doing training. She then started to think there is no way that made that much of noise, since the people in the mansion didn't say a thing. After thinking about it, she realizes she haven't seen anyone inside the mansion for a while. After realizing it, she was shocked, and he goes on by telling to her that he will be back, and she should inform him if anything bad happens. But this just irritates her, because he said he will come back, and all of the sudden he pats her head, which shocked her. He then says, "See you later," and leaves the place. In the end, she started to think, even though she was lost in the thoughts, she can't believe he was able to close his distance, and also nobody has ever touched her like that. After some days later, he comes back, and this time she was standing really far from him, which confused him. He then realizes that thing isn't emitting a bad magic power like before. He then goes on by thinking that someone who doesn't get along with the adults will end up alone like him. All of the sudden, he realizes that she is now standing in front of him. After seeing it, he gets a flashback where he was about to leave after patting her head. He was shocked to see her face getting flustered by happy feelings. As a result, he pats her head again. He then asks to her if she saw any monster around here, to which she says she didn't. He says if she is living in here, to which she says she only comes here in the morning. So if she is coming here daily, she should know about the earthquake and loud noise, to which she says it's because of the landslides and rocks that break. He then believed it. And she started to think that he doesn't understand anything, and he decides to leave by thinking he will come back few days later, but right after saying he came back day after day after day. Afterwards, he thinks to himself, for some reason, he is coming to see this thing more than he expected. After thinking about it, he takes his hands and starts to pat her, and she started to blush. He then thinks to himself, if he were a thug, he would have sold her by kidnapping. But she was sitting there silently, and then she thinks for some reason that old guy keeps showing up, and also being on guard is annoying, so she decided to not be on guard. And not because she likes being patted in the head. And then while eating the food she thinks she can just kill him if things gets out of hands. All of the sudden, he asks her to be on guard or be cautious on him, and she shouldn't accept things from a stranger since it might have poison in it. To which she just replies, is it real? He then goes on by saying there are people that is earning good money by selling people by kidnapping them. To which she just asks to him, then what are the other jobs? To which he started to explain that there are cooks, apothecary, but while he was saying it, she was shocked to see the bright sun. But then he says there are adventures, and it's the best since there is nobody there to boss you around. After hearing that word, she says adventures, to which he happily asks her if she is planning to become an adventurer. With a serious face, she says she is planning to become one. After seeing her determined expression, he got serious. He then asks her on where is she from. But then before saying her real name, she suddenly stops and tells to him that she is affiliated with this forest, to which he goes on by asking her to tell her name is she is affiliated with the forest, and after thinking for a while, she tells her name as Indra. Afterwards, he was shocked to hear that place was owned by a noble. He then goes on by asking to the receptionist on why he didn't have told it to him sooner, since if he were to get caught, no one will say anything if he were to get killed. To which that receptionist says he didn't had any choice. Because of the rumbling, they thought there is a dragon living. So they thought it will be an easy fix if they send a S-rank guy like him. After saying the truth, he was shocked. Meanwhile, Sword is angry. After hearing it, he then thinks he also thought there is something big, but he couldn't able to find anything except a kid. After remembering it, he asks to the receptionist if he knows about a kid named Indra. But hearing that name, he got shocked. But this made him to get angry, to which that guy says how could he call her a kid, since she is a owner of that land. Plus she is their first daughter. After a while, he comes back thinking that there is no way this thing is a noble, and then he asks it to be more careful and cautious about strangers, to which she says that she is being cautious and knows how to cook, plus some martial arts. After hearing that name, he got curious, and he goes on by getting up and asks her to show him on what she got, since training only by herself might be boring. So he will face her with a wooden stick as an handicap, and he goes on by telling her to use her wooden sword. Before getting ready, she thinks if he wants to do a game of pretending to do a sword fight. Afterwards, she decides to test how strong she had become, and then he starts the match, but to his surprise she is already in front of him, which he blocks using his sword, and he started to think that thing went straight for his waist. He then realizes that he has underestimated it, since it has a mana pouring out of it, plus it has a speed that amazes a S-rank too. After realizing it, he comes to the conclusion that this thing is not a normal noble lady, but when he was thinking about it, he realizes that thing is giving out too much of mana. As a reflex, he quickly attacks her while using his magic body enchantment, which launched her in the air, but then she comes back with a quick kick. As a result, he couldn't able to dodge it and gets hit in the hand, and this shocked him since his hand might have fractured. But without giving anything about him, she comes in to attack him, which shocked him, and he tells to her that he gives up, which shocked her, but he was thinking if that thing will stop, or he will die here, but she stopped. After seeing it, he decides to drink an healing potion just in case. Afterwards, he was scared to get near her, while thinking what is going to happen now. But to his surprise, she asks him if she got what it takes to become an adventurer, or if it's impossible for her to become one, but this shocked him. He then goes on by letting out a huge sign and points his finger on her, and he tells to her that she is ridiculously overpowered, to which she asks him if he is going to shout at her for that reason. But then, without stopping, he shouts more by saying no matter how many times she says nobody watched her while training, or there is nobody there to teach her, there is a limit on how much someone can train, and no matter how he looks at her, she already surpassed adults in many things. After hearing it, she started to think for a while, and she says that she did had a feeling that something was off. Afterwards, he says that he will ask it one more time, is she really a human, or what? After hearing it, she gets a memory of her dad and mother. As a result, she says the women that gave birth to her might be a human, but that dad thing might not be considered as inhuman. After hearing it, Sword says that he gets it, which is she is ridiculously strong, but she doesn't have a common sense, which made her to pout while saying that she will be fine without talking to anyone after becoming an adventurer, to which he says, thinking that adventurers don't need to interact is itself says that she doesn't have a common sense, which made her to get defeated. After hearing it, he picks her up saying that he will train her to be an adventurer. Plus it looks like he found himself a good sparring partner, which shocked her. And she goes on by saying that she thought he was a shady guy, but it turns out he was a good guy, so she is glad that she didn't kill him. After training for a while, she told him thanks for it, and as a gratitude, she will cook food for him. As a result, he bought ingredients at the next day. After walking for a while, he realizes the time is running pretty fast for some reason, and all of a sudden, he heard water noise coming from somewhere, and to his surprise, she was taking a bath. But he was more shocked to see it raining in one place. Plus the water below her is streaming like a hot water. He then suddenly realizes something, which was that thing didn't had that thing, and he was shocked to realize the fact that she was a woman all this time. But this shocked her too, and she tells to him that she obviously looks like a girl, and also what part of her looks like a boy. After hearing it, he thinks to himself that she has a pale skin with a big round eyes and a dedicated narrow face. He then asks to her if she really that girl named Indra, who is a first daughter of the noble, to which she shouts back, saying that's right after that he asks her on why she is having a short haircut, even though she is a noble, since he never seen a girl with that type of haircut, but she was hearing everything silently. But then he suddenly gets shocked and asks to her if someone forcefully cut her hair like this. She then says that she cut it by herself, and she goes on by saying that she is the first daughter of the noble, but he hates her. So, as a result, she doesn't even have a single attendance. Plus, he hates spending money on her, because of she only got those poor clothes over there. So to do hair cuts, she does it by herself. After saying it, she realizes that he mistook her as a boy because of her short haircut, and while she was saying it, he throws a towel on her, which she looks at him. He then tells to her maybe the kid vibe might be because of the haircut, to which she says yep, but he didn't even look at her. Afterwards, he was shocked since it's abnormal to rain in the middle of nowhere, and he goes on by asking her it's weird to rain hot water in the middle of the nowhere, to which she says that she is the ones that's making it to rain, then why is it weird? Which shocked him, and he asks to her if she can also use magic, to which she tells to him she self-thought it to herself and not by anyone. Plus she went through every single book, but there were no books saying how one can cast magic. So after a many trial and error, she learned it, but it's really hard. But this shocked him, and he goes on by asking to her if she is really human, to which she tells to him it's his fourth time calling her if she is a human or not. After hearing it, he realizes it, and then he apologizes for his rudeness. In the end, she puts back her dress and comes in by telling sorry for waiting to him. He then tells to her that he bought everything she asked him to bring. After hearing it, she tells him to bring them over here, but he was shocked, since there is a ready-made stove was there. He then asks her that he didn't saw it yesterday, to which she replies she was working on this built just a moments before, but she got dirty. Because of that, she took a bath. After hearing it, he started to laugh by telling to her that he will be judging the tastes, but to his surprise, she cooked him a 10-star meal. After eating it, his mind was completely blank while saying he was expecting it, and she even asks him if he wants more. Afterwards, he started to analyze, since she is using fire easily, which is by without casting an incantation. But then he suddenly got surprised to see the alcohol, and she tells to him it's an alcohol. He then goes on by telling her to not waste it in a cooking, and he asks her to give to him because he wants to drink it, which made her to think he is an hopeless adult. Afterwards, she started to push him away while saying it only for cooking. In the end, she tells him the truth, that she homemade this liquor. But after hearing it, he was more shocked, since to make alcohol they needs license, and the methods to make it is kept as a secret. While being shocked, he asks her if she knows how to cook alcohol. After hearing it, she looks at him and says she have a knowledge because she did try doing it with a lot of times with a lot of trial and error. So after saying it, she explains to him to make the food more good and give its full taste, they needs this homemade alcohol. But ignoring her words, he asks her to give more alcohol, which made her to get annoyed, and she thinks what's with this old man. Afterwards, he started to beg her to give him some. As a result, she gives him a glass of it. After drinking it, he goes into a inebriated state. Afterwards, he calls her and says he might look like this, but he is still an adult. So as for ingratitude, he will do something where a normal kid can't buy, which is he will buy her the adventure's gears. After hearing it, she decides to trade alcohol as a win-win situation. He then asks her if she is really sure that she doesn't want to become a chef, since her talent is much needed, plus she can make a lot money by selling alcohol, which made her to get irritated, and she tells to him that she is just a girl who doesn't even know a common sense. After thinking about it, he remembers her parents, and she says there isn't a lot of good people like him in this world, which shocked him. But she goes on by saying that she will consider doing it if she became an adult, and all of the sudden, he asks her to sell her alcohol to him, to which she says she can't give it to him since it's being made by their kitchen staffs. But after hearing it, he insisted her to introduce him to them, to which she tells him to cut it out since it will only get her into trouble. In the end, she accepts the deal, and she tells him to wait for a year since it will mature more and tastes more, and also the ones he drank earlier wasn't been matured, so it's okay to cooking, which made him to get angry and tells her to sell those to him now, and in a year from now, she should sell him those good alcohol. He then goes on by saying okay, and he says he will now go home for now. He then says he will give her that magic bag, which works as a storage, plus she can also have this clock, which is in thanks for the alcohol she gave him earlier. After receiving it, she looks at it silently. She then gets really happy. Afterwards, she calls his name and says even though he looks like a smelly old man, he is still a good person, which attacked him personally. After a while, she got hit by him, but she just tells to him she is not to be the blame just because a lot of sound and earthquake happens, to which he replies that's what they call being the cause. Afterwards, they started to train. Sword then gets in and parries her sword. He then goes on by using his hands and flipping her head. As a result, she lost. She then started to think Sword is actually strong when he is not letting his guard down, which made her to get angry because he is reading her attack like he got mind reading or something. Suddenly, she stops cursing and she realizes that he is training with her for this past few years. As a result, she now fell in love with him. Afterwards, the S-rank guy explains to her about magic, which is the mana she has within her is called energy. However, the mana capabilities varies from individual to individual, which can be used by chanting spells. But for her, it's entirely different, since she can use the magic power in the air, which are the fluffy light she is seeing on the air. After hearing it, she replies, so that's why nothing is happening whenever she tried chanting magic. But then he suddenly asks to her if the alcohol is ready, which made her to get disgusted, and she went silent. Meanwhile, he is waiting for the answer with a grin on his face, so she decides to take it since it's almost been a year after they have put it in the fertilizer. She then goes on by saying that she will take it from her mansion. After realizing that he is following her, she gets angry while telling him to stop following him. And then she tells to him that he is just coming with her to win over the chefs and drink the alcohol straight from the source, to which he replies that he just wants to drink some beer and that's all. In the end, she gives up and she says screw it, they are going all in, while he is acting to be silly. Afterwards, they gets inside the kitchen and he chef recognized the S-class adventure. They then goes on by telling to them that the alcohol has been made successfully. After a while, both of them looks out from the back door of the mansion, but she was pissed out because it's an hassle just to get out of the house because of him, to which he just says that they at least got the alcohol without any trouble. She then agrees to it. After that, she hands him the alcohol as promised. She then goes on by saying that she does owe him a bottle because he did many things to her from the start. But then he says thanks to her and also he will bring her the equipments she needs for adventuring. Afterwards, he goes in to grab the alcohol bottle, but suddenly he stops and he goes on by grabbing her head, which shocked her, and suddenly he asks her to come with him, since she is planning to leave the castle anyway, so she should come with him. And if she comes with him, he will teach her the basis to become an adventurer. To which she suddenly says that she is just 7 years old right now, so it's 3 years earlier than she planned to leave, and said it while blushing. To which he says that plans always comes with unexpected turns. After saying it, he quickly invites her to come with him, to which she quickly slaps his hand while saying she can't just leave right now itself. So even though she is basically freeloading, she still needs some stuff to do before leaving. All of a sudden, he says that he will go and collect the stuffs that she will be needing to be an adventurer. And after hearing it, she suddenly smiles, and she tells him to wait in the usual spot. Afterwards, at the next day, she tells to the cooks that they don't need to make any more alcohol, since she is going to leave this mansion. But then they suddenly removes their cap, and they goes on by bowing down, while saying that they are grateful for her blessings she gave them using their wisdom. After seeing, she got a little sad. So as a result, she tells to them that they can create more alcohol if they want, but with one condition, which is they have to keep it secret on how to make it. And also, like sword, they can drink it right away without waiting for it to get tasty after a year. But this made them to smile. After seeing it, she was shocked since they didn't get offended by that insult. To which one of the cook says that Sword had already spoken with them earlier, which was he will be taking their lady with him. After hearing it, she was shocked, and she goes on by thinking that he wasn't as careless as she thought, but rather he was planning everything. Afterwards, the chefs calls her, and they once again tells to her that they hope that she will live her life happily. And before she leaves, they once again tells her to live happily. Afterwards, while walking in the corridor, she thinks to herself that this world is not full of people like Sword. All of a sudden, she notices the butler standing outside the door, so she goes on by calling him, and after seeing her, he was shocked. After that, she demands him to tell her on where her dad is right now, because she wants to say final goodbye to him before leaving the house. After hearing it, the butler tells to her father that Indra wants to meet him and tell her final goodbye to him, which confused him. And then she walks inside the room with a different tone, while telling to him on how he is. She then goes on by saying that she came here to collect something that's hers, to which he was shocked and scared. And he asks to her on what's with her hair. So does this mean she was a boy all along? But this made her to get angry. and she goes on by telling to him that her hair doesn't matter anymore. She then asks him to give her the money, and once he gives her the money, she will officially leave the house, which will be a great news for them, right? To which he just tells her to not be ridiculous, and all of a sudden she asks him to give her the child support, which is he should give her from the start. It's because he is her father. But then he suddenly gets really angry. But to his surprise, the butler offers her the money, and he goes on by telling to him that this money right here is the rightful option that she should receive. After hearing it, he gets angry, to which that butler replies with that Indra could no longer withstand their mistreatment towards her. Because of that, she became mentally and physically weakened. In the end, she collapsed. However, for some reason, she made a full backup, and she decided to leave this place with her own will. So right now, the only thing he should do is giving her a good farewell. But this caught him off guard, so he suddenly kicks out the jewelry and the money out of her hands, and then she quickly hits him back. As a result, he got knocked out. Meanwhile, the butler is giving her the money she should have got. But then suddenly her sister comes in, and she asks to her if she is truly leaving. So if that's the case, then who is going to get blamed for the things that she done? To which she replies, if her father, and she leaves this mansion, then she might reconsider it. After hearing it, she thinks for a while, and she shouts at her by telling her to get out of the house. In the end, she started to run, and all of a sudden she gets a flashback of her father always talking to her, plus her stepmother is always scolding her. And after remembering everything, she once again gets sad, and all of a sudden she remembers the face of that S-rank guy, which made her to smile while blushing. But to her surprise, he was standing in front of her by saying that she came here sooner than he expected, to which she says that she finished everything she wanted to do in the mansion, and also the head maid gave her some presents on the way back here. So she should now get going with a full of energy, to which he calls her and gives her something. Afterwards, she removes her clothes, and he asks to her if she is ready or not, to which she uses magic to burn her old clothes while saying that she is ready. In the end, both of them gets ready to leave the place, and she even got a new dress for her to wear. And then he suddenly gives her his hands while asking her to not let go of his hands again, to which she holds his hands back, while saying that she may be a little girl, but she still received an education to be a lady. And then she goes on by getting angry for why there is a lesson to hold hands to become a lady, to which he smiles while saying that she is not actually a refined lady. He pats her head while telling to her that they should get going, since the sun is going to set. As a result, both of them sets a journey inside the forest that they haven't been to.